Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Welcome to the February 17th, 2023 meeting of the Environment Committee. It is 10:04. We are convening the meeting, and we'll go right to Roman numeral 2 remarks by our chairs. We'll start off with Senator Lopes, who is doing us a favor by being in his office since he's a little under the weather. Senator Lopes.
Thank you very much, Joe. No comments. I'll keep my germs away from you.
Thank you, Senator Harding.
Morning, Mr. Chair. I look forward to a good discussion on these bills that we have put forward today. Want to thank the committee's effort on this, and of course, the incredible work of the committee staff for making this agenda today. So thank you, Mr. Chair.
Representative Callahan.
I echo what Senator Harding said, and also thank you to the co-chairs for working with us and making this process as less painful as it could be.
You love it. Senator Hogadell. Okay, I see your. Oh. She is. You're on mute.
On top of everything else, I'm sorry, I too have COVID, so I'm just glad to be here. Thank you.
Please take care. Okay, moving on to Roman numeral number 3, bills for favorable action. The first bill under Roman numeral 3, and you'll have to forgive the misnumbering. We had a word technical issue that couldn't fix no matter how hard we tried. So the first bill, House Bill 6484, an act concerning certain harvesting of horseshoe crabs. It's a JF to the floor. I cannot make a motion myself as chairing the meeting, so I will entertain a motion.
So moved.
By Representative Michelle, seconded by Representative Baumgardner. Any questions or discussions? Senator Harding.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and I do plan to support this bill today. And the only question or reservation I may have, and I think I speak for some individuals in my caucus in regard to this, is the lack of a medical exemption. If you remember in previous legislative sessions when this proposal was put forward, there was a medical exemption. My understanding is we've now found some information that there is an alternative synthetic that would address the medical needs of horseshoe crabs, therefore making the medical exemption no longer necessary. With that said, I think there's more information I'd like to see moving forward outside of committee as we move on to the House floor and the Senate floor that would detail some of the information on the efficacy of the synthetic as well as the supply of the synthetic. The last thing we want to do is limit our ability to utilize this for medical purposes if it becomes necessary. So I'd like to put that on the record, and with that being on the record, I'd also offer this to be placed on a consent calendar if the chair would be so inclined to start a consent calendar.
Thank you, Senator Harding. The clerk, please add item number 1, HB 6484 to the consent calendar without objection. Any objection? Any other comments? Questions? Thank you. I would be remiss to not mention that someone that has been working tirelessly for decades on the Project Limulus effort in the Long Island Sound, and unfortunately passed away in December. So I would just like to note that Professor Jennifer Mattei did a lot of the legwork and research on this and the decline of the population over years. And so I just wanted to make a note of that on the record. Thank you for your indulgence. Item number 2 is House Bill 6481, an act concerning the intentional release of certain balloons. It's a straight JF to the floor. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Moved
Second.
by Senator Harding, seconded by Representative Mushinski. As we said, this is basically banning the intentional release of any lighter than air balloons into the atmosphere for the myriad of reasons we heard during the public hearing. I don't foresee any balloon police going around and causing any issues. There is an infraction charge on this if it becomes necessary, but this is more hopefully along the lines of educating individuals as to alternatives to letting the balloons go to basically who knows where, and causing issues not only in the sound, but we've heard about boat motors, we've heard about farm equipment. So any other discussion or questions? Representative Cooley.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm very supportive of this bill, but I did want to ask for the clarification of intent between I and the two I's. No person, nonprofit or organization will release balloons, and then we have the provisions of this section shall not apply to any such balloon deployed by the National Weather Service or similar research entity. My understanding of the intent of the committee was that for scientific research, and that could include nonprofits and NGOs working through grant monies, et cetera, so that there's a clear intent on the committee as the bill moves forward that the language does not exclude nonprofits, NGOs from doing scientific research and releasing helium balloons. So there's a clear understanding on DEEP's end regarding that.
For intent purposes, that is correct. Once identified by DEEP, I don't think there would be an issue with that.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I just wanted to be clear on the intent of the bill, and I will be supporting it. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative. Senator Harding.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And with that on the record, I believe that we could place this, or I can make a motion to place this on the consent calendar.
Without objection, thank you, Senator Harding. Will the clerk please note House Bill 6481 added to the consent calendar. Moving on to the third item, House Bill 6487, an act concerning the regulations of the Departments of Agriculture and Energy and Environmental Protection. It's a straight JF to the floor. I'll entertain a motion. Anyone?
So moved. Senator-
Moved by Senator Lopes. Seconded by Representative Michelle. This bill could potentially be like a carrier bill for DEEP bills that we are going to be hearing, meaning that there's going to be 8 DEEP bills. Let's say as opposed to making alterations to 8 DEEP bills, we decide that it would be better if everyone agreed to put them into a single bill, so we can pass them. I want to stress that at this point, this bill would not be used to include material that this committee has not heard in one form or another. Any comments or questions? Senator Harding.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And to that end, in regards to your comments on the intentions of this particular bill, I just want to reinforce the fact, and through you, Mr. Chair, either to yourself or to anyone else you deem is appropriate for this, that the sole intention of this particular bill is to place proposals from DEEP or DOAG that all will get a public hearing. I think my concern and many of my caucus's concern in the past is that there have been bills that have been placed forward, whether it be on the House floor or the Senate floor, that never received a public hearing. public did not have notice on these particular changes to the law. And you know, I don't think anyone thinks that's a good process. So as long as there's a commitment from this committee leadership or whomever it may be, that these will strictly be proposals that will get a public hearing from Deep and DOAG, I would support the bill. So through you, Mr. Chair, is that in fact the case?
Thank you, Senator. In one word, yes, as was explained, when this bill was originally approved as a concept bill by Senator Lopes, this would be something that would be a tool if we chose to merge some of the deep proposals in those 8 other bills into a single bill, but it's not the intent of at least the committee leadership to include anything in that carrier bill that didn't get a chance to be heard by this committee in one form or another.
With that understanding, Mr. Chair, then I would ask that this be placed on consent.
Thank you, Senator. The clerk note House Bill 6487 be placed on the consent calendar. Moving on to the 4th item, Senate Bill 895, an act concerning deposit initiator accounts and carbonated beverages. This is a JFS to the floor. I'll entertain a motion.
So move, Senator Lopes.
It's moved by Senator Lopes, seconded by Representative Michelle. The JFS language to this bill removes the definition of hard seltzer, wine-based and spirit-based seltzers, since that has already been accomplished in the ESERD bill that we did a couple of weeks ago here in the General Assembly. Also, it includes the Council for Environmental Quality checking back with each of our municipalities as to what the money that's being supplied to the municipality by the 5-cent surcharge on nip sales within their municipality is being spent on. Currently, that's ongoing, and the preliminary results are good in that the municipalities are spending the money on litter control, environmental issues, and the like. The other section is to allow for the industry to not relay to the state of Connecticut the Sheets money for the last 2 quarters of this year in order to create a buffer, a piggy bank, if you will, so that when we go from a nickel to a dime, they have some money set aside to redeem to a dime for everyone that is going to be hoarding their material until January 1st so they can get double their money. But thank you to the industry for doing that. And finally, it has language that would allow product on the shelf as of January 2nd, 2024, that is supposed to have a 10-cent label on it, but just has a 5-cent label on it. The ability to stay on the shelf so we don't waste it all, and let that stock be run out and then replaced over those first few months of 2024 with new stock, knowing that the 10-cent deposit is still going to be charged through the barcode. With that being said, any other questions or comments? Senator Harding.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, in furtherance of what you were discussing, particularly the stock and not wasting stock, I have some language that I'm proposing as an amendment. I'm doing it orally. It's pretty straightforward and simple. Line 44, before the word other, it inserts the word or the words, quote, the abbreviations RV or, and then further in line 44, after quote words, it inserts or abbreviations. In line 55, after quote dealers, it inserts or distributors. And then also what it does is it simply also says the Legislative Commissioner's Office is authorized to make any technical or conforming changes as may be necessary. The reason for this, well, I guess I have the amendment. I guess I need a second, right?
I'll second the motion.
And if I can continue, Mr. Chair.
You may continue.
So the reason for this is quite plain and simple. It further makes what I see as technical changes to the bill to conform to partially what is current practice. My understanding is that DEEP has already regulated that the industry, whether it be manufacturers or distributors, are allowed to place CTRV on cans or bottles. That obviously eliminates the issue with putting a 5 cent or a 10 cent before or after the January 1st, 2024 deadline. So that's one aspect of it. It also gives the distributors a little bit of grace period, similar to what we're giving the stores here. And all this is simply to eliminate an instance in which distributors as well as retailers would not lose product. So I find these to be rather simple technical changes. It prevents distributors from losing product as well as retailers and stores. And I would ask that this move forward and to be passed and JFS or added to today's bill.
Thank you, Senator Harding. Any other comments or questions? Senator Lopes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. My thoughts are actually in line with the ranking member on this particular issue. This is language I wouldn't mind seeing in the bill, but if I could ask an indulgence, I believe when this bill comes out of committee and goes to the Senate, I'd like to work with him there and try to find a way to include this language, maybe with a couple alterations, but it is my intent to address these two issues going forward on this bill before it gets a final vote.
Thank you, Senator Lopes. Senator Harding.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. If that is in fact the case, and I do take my good chair, the good chair at his word on this, that the intent is to place this language, whether it be this particular language or language that conforms with the purpose of this amendment on the Senate floor, then I will withdraw this amendment for today. But I do hope that on the Senate floor, that this particular language or the purpose behind this particular language is put in. I think it's good policy and it's positive technical changes to this particular bill. So I will withdraw my amendment based upon that commitment from Senator Lopes.
Thank you, Senator Harding. Any other comments or questions? Representative Mashinsky.
Mr. Chairman, I'm glad the language was taken out in section 1 of the bill about the liquor containing sparkling beverages. But I think we need to let the industry know that they need to get ready to be included in the bottle law down the road. It may not be immediately, but it needs to happen because of the fast growth of the industry. It's growing at 15% a year. That's going to start to overwhelm the municipalities and the people that pick up the material at DOT and Department of Public Works at that fast rate of growth. We have to get ready for it, and we have to tell the industry to get ready for it too, even though I'm not going to try to add it back today, Mr. Chairman, but I think we have to send that word out that we are going to try to add them back in the future because of the rapid growth rate and the tendency of people to drink portable alcoholic beverages out in the roadside parks and so on. Those are the most likely to get chucked out the window because they have an alcohol content and people don't want to get caught drinking them at work or in the parks. So that includes the nips too, that we will have to deal with them in the near future. But I'm not going to try to do any changes today, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Representative Mashinsky. Point taken. I would just add to that this committee is also waiting for the report from DEEP concerning how we're going to be getting the large wine and liquor bottles out of our waste stream, as was directed in the original modernization of the bottle bill that we passed a few years ago. Senator Harding. Oh, Representative D'Amico.
I take precedence over the ranking member. I'm impressed, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
We'll see how you vote on my setting council.
You will see. So I just wanted to, not to belabor it, I just wanted to echo Representative Mashinsky's remarks. An aluminum can that contains a beverage is an aluminum can that contains a beverage. And to make this distinction, I understand why we did it, but we don't have to do it forever. So I think I want to echo what the good representative said, that the industry should be on notice that they too are going to have to conform to the direction that we're going in here, which is to get all aluminum cans into the system and not make exceptions based on what's inside. And I know that that is a burden for them, but it is a burden that they will figure out how to handle, and that's the direction that we need to move in. So I just wanted to add my voice. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Representative D'Amico. Representative Michelle.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to echo my colleagues' comments, and that's it. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Representative Michelle. Senator Harding.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And if there's no objection, I would ask that this be placed on the consent calendar with the understanding that have been placed on the record with myself and Senator Lopes.
Thank you, Senator. Will the clerk note Senate Bill 895 to be placed on the consent calendar?
And as you place that on the consent calendar, I believe the next item up for bid is item number 5, which is an act HB 6485. And as if it's appropriate now, Mr. Chair, if I can make a motion.
Let me raise the bill and then we'll go from there.
I wanted to get you before you did that.
Go right ahead.
On HB 6485, now that the open space aspects and the deep aspects have been removed from the bill, my opinion is this is not the committee of cognizance for the bill, and I would like to make a motion that it be moved to public health.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded to refer House Bill 6485 to public health. Any comments or questions? Senator Harding.
I think just to, in furtherance of what Representative Callahan said, I think that makes sense here. Now that the green burial and the open space aspect is now out of the bill, really truly the only committee of cognizance in this particular case is DPH. In fact, the bill is, excuse me, not DPH, the Public Health Committee. The bill itself now simply says that it authorizes DPH to promulgate regulations to allow for human composting. So in light of that, I think this is the right procedural thing to do, and I do support the motion. I thank the ranking member for making it.
Thank you, Senator Harding. Any other comments or questions? Representative D'Amico.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just a procedural question. I'm not sure why we're taking the step of referring this to public health. In other instances, we JF a bill out of the committee and then we let leadership send it to the committee that they think is appropriate. So I just want an understanding of why we're doing it this way as opposed to the other way.
I had every intention of this bill coming out of committee and finding its way to the Public Health Committee after being screened by leadership. But and that being said, I would ask that that being said, I would ask that when we take a voice vote on this amendment, we vote it down with the intent that most likely, and if I have to go to leadership screening and ask it to be referred to public health, I will. It's probably going to go there anyway because of the points that were made, but I would ask that when we take the vote by voice, we vote it down. That being said, I'm gonna ask for a vote on the proposed amendment to refer the motion to refer House Bill 6485 to
I have
public
my hand
health.
raised.
All those in favor?
I had my hand raised.
Sorry about that, Representative Anderson. Go right ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I don't know if it's appropriate now, but I would like a roll call vote on the amendment, which I support. But the DPH is mentioned in the 8 pages 9 times. Deep, not at all. And the Commissioner Jutani submitted testimony with extensive objections to this bill. I know there's a similar bill in public health. And that's where this belongs as the Committee of Cognizance. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Representative Anderson. And before we go on, Brad,
Yes, Representative.
you comments as to procedural going correctly?
My understanding is that a roll call vote has been requested on the motion to refer the bill to public health rather than to have a favorable action on it. So generally speaking, when a roll call request is made, that is generally honored.
Thank you, Brad. Senator Anwar.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just wanted to mention, I'm currently serving as the co-chair of Public Health Committee, and also we have had a public hearing on this topic, but the Public Health Committee's perspective was that the committee that is going to assess this and move this bill forward would not be Public Health Committee, it would actually be the Environment Committee, and that's why I agree with you that we should vote no on the amendment. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Senator Anwar. I don't see any other hands up in the virtual room or in 2B. So we are going to have a roll call vote on the proposed amendment to the proposed motion to send HB 6485 to the Public Health Committee. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Senator Lopes,
No.
Representative Gresco,
No.
Senator Hochstel,
Senator Hochstel votes no.
Representative Palm,
Palm votes no.
Senator Harding. Yes. Representative
Yeah.
I might have a speaker on the laptop on. Representative Anderson.
Representative Anderson votes yes.
Representative, did I ask? Representative, I apologize. You did, thank you. Senator Anwar.
Senator Anwar votes no.
Can you go around and make sure everybody's votes are? Yeah. Senator.
Sorry, there's an echo. Did you?
I can, and I'm working on someone adjusting that right now. There's microphones that are lit up.
Please, as a reminder to everyone, please just mute your microphones. And if you have your laptop, press the F1 key to mute the laptop as well, so we can get on with this.
Senator Anwar.
Senator Anwar votes no.
Representative Rizno.
Representative Arseno votes no.
Representative Baumgartner.
Baumgartner votes no.
Representative Chafee. Representative Cooley.
Here, Representative Cooley votes yes.
Representative Dancho.
Representative Dancho votes yes.
Representative D'Amico,
D'Amico votes no.
Representative Dillon, Representative Dubitsky,
Representative Dubitsky votes yes.
Representative Felipe, Representative Gaston.
Oh, I'm here. Sorry, Representative Felipe votes no.
I'm sorry, Representative, thank you.
Senator Gaston votes no.
Representative Harrison,
Representative Harrison votes yes.
Representative Horn, Representative McGee,
Representative McGee votes no.
Representative Michelle,
Rep. Michelle votes no.
Representative Mashinsky,
Rep. Mashinsky votes no.
Representative O'Day, Representative Parker,
Representative Parker votes no.
Representative Piscopo,
Representative Piscopo votes yes.
Representative Rader,
Representative Rader votes no.
Representative Reddington Hughes,
Representative Reddington Hughes votes yes.
Representative Reyes, Representative Ryan, Representative Smith,
Representative Smith votes no.
Representative Beach,
Representative Veach votes yes.
Chair, if the votes are not being kept open, then I need to count them. I just need one moment.
Take your time.
I have 18 in yes, and I'm sorry, I have 8 yes and 18 no. The rest are absent.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. The motion fails. Moving on to House Bill 6485, an act concerning natural organic reduction and green.
I have those numbers a little different.
That might be possible. When I had the echo, I can certainly,
No, I know you were dealing with very difficult
I
circumstances.
can certainly confirm with you, Senator. Let me just
Okay,
make sure. I'll
yeah.
come over to you in a moment. I apologize for that. So I have 17, 10 on the no and 17 in favor. Apologize with the echo. I don't think I got everyone.
Don't you mean the other way around?
I think you
Around
misspoke.
10, 17.
Thank you. Again, the motion fails. Thank you for everyone to get the count accurate. Going back to the underlying bill, HB 6485, an act concerning natural organic reduction and green burials. I'll entertain a motion to approve. Moved by Representative Baumgartner, seconded by Representative Palm. The JFS language has the removal of the green burial and reference to open space. And the rest basically is the same. in deference to some of our members and what just happened, I would ask if there's no more questions or comments that this vote be taken by roll as well.
I have a comment.
I do too.
Representative Cooley.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Going through the bill as it now stands, I still have serious issues regarding the commodification of human compost. And as such, I cannot support this bill, and I'm going to request a roll call vote.
Thank you, Representative Cooley. Representative McGee.
Thank you, Chairman. I have strong reservations around this bill as well. As I've talked to several of my constituents, both morally and historically, this presents as a challenge for them. As I listened to one of my constituents talk about her ancestors being buried behind churches because they had no option, and that was the dignity of a burial that they were able to offer them. There are just many concerns that I have surrounding human compost as well. I understand we represent people all across the state of Connecticut who have different beliefs and values, but because of that, I cannot support this bill. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative McGee. Representative Anderson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I also have reservations after listening and watching all the testimony and reading it, but I understand the desire for a green burial. I've even researched it for myself. And I did find a website, connecticutburial.org, that describes 5 cemeteries that allow green burials in Connecticut, meaning no embalming, casket not required, or biodegradable casket, no vault required, no herbicides used. So there is a green burial option without the process described in this bill that probably uses less energy. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Representative Anderson. Senator Gaston.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I want to echo the sentiments of 2 colleagues who spoke previously, but especially Representative McGee's comments. I too have wrestled with this and certainly do understand the sensitivity of green burials, but I also have some trepidation around the composite issue of the bill, considering the fact that a lot of the folks that I represent have come to me time and time again over the past couple of weeks, indicating that this bill will be problematic for them from a historical perspective, as well as what their values are. So I want to ensure that their voices are being heard. And I'm still sort of in the baking experience and haven't come around to my own sort of thinking around this, but I'm not at a place to where I could say I'm committed to voting for this measure.
Thank you, Senator. Representative Felipe.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I wanted to echo the sentiments of the last 3 of my colleagues to speak, as well as offer maybe a difference of perspective. Having been in this building for the last 5 years, I will say that while these concepts, especially a concept like this, which I think a lot of us haven't heard about until about a month and a half ago, presents a lot of questions. There are a lot of things that I think have not been answered, as far as, somebody brought up maybe growing produce from this compost, right? Somebody brought up the consent argument of all of this. And obviously that is presented here, but can be changed in the future. I have no problem supporting it out of committee, but I feel like there are many questions that would need to be answered before we could vote for this on the floor. But I just wanted to make that known, and thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Representative Felipe. Representative Palm.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Well, I deeply respect and appreciate the thoughtful conversation around this bill that is happening in this committee and happened in the public hearings. I want to make 2 comments about the objections that have been stated. First, to the aspect of the green burial. While we do have alternatives to cremation and burial with lead caskets and embalmed bodies, the fact remains that even a green burial still takes up space, it takes up earth, hence the removal of the first part of the bill about the open space. So While green burial is certainly preferable to the other two methods, it does require the remains to be in the ground. And whereas the natural organic reduction does not. So I think that's an important distinction. And then respectfully, while I think many of us, most of us in this building try to respect the separation of church and state, I will veer a little bit into biblical terms right now, because many of us grew up hearing, remember, man, that you are dust, and unto dust you shall return. This is the most natural, respectful, and I would say sacred act that a person can have to protect the earth over which we have stewardship. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Palm. Representative Bennington Hughes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. While I understand the intent of trying to be responsible as far as the environment is concerned, I have some major reservations about this, especially unlike cremation, where you are identifying the person twice, okay, both at the place where the funeral home and then at the site where they are being cremated. This does not encompass that. It says that the body does not need to be identified once it's brought there. I have a huge problem with that. And I also have a huge problem where they have no person shall place remains of more than one person in the same temporary container or urn. Well, the remains, having sat through a hearing in public health, are 200 pounds of soil. How are they ever putting 200 pounds of soil in an urn? So I certainly would not be in favor of this. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative. Any other comments or questions? Just finally, my final comment on this is that well, the offer has been made by the funeral directors industry to sit down and continue this conversation going forward should this bill pass out of committee. If so, points being made will hopefully be addressed during that interaction if it happens based on the vote count here. That being said, Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll for HB 6485, an act concerning natural organic reduction and green burials, JFS, to the floor.
House Bill 6485 JFS to the floor, LCO 4271. Senator Lopes,
Senator Lopes votes yes.
Representative Gresco,
Yes.
Senator Hotchadel,
Senator Hockendahl votes yes.
Representative Palm,
Representative Palm votes yes.
Senator Harding, Representative Callahan,
Representative Callahan votes no.
Representative Anderson,
Representative Anderson votes no.
Senator Anwar, Representative Arizno,
Representative Arseno votes no.
Representative Baumgardner,
Baumgardner votes yes.
Representative Chafee, Representative Cooley,
Representative Cooley votes no.
Representative Dancho,
Representative Dancho votes no.
Representative D'Amico,
Representative D'Amico votes yes.
Representative Dillon, Representative Dubitsky,
Trubisky votes no.
Representative Felipe,
Representative Felipe conditionally votes yes.
Representative Gaston.
Senator Gaston votes conditionally yes.
Thank you, Senator. Representative Harrison,
Harrison votes no.
Representative Horn,
Horn votes yes.
Representative McGee,
Representative McGee votes no.
Representative Michelle,
Rep. Michelle votes yes.
Representative Mashinsky,
Rep. Mashinsky votes yes.
Representative O'Day, Representative Parker,
Representative Parker votes yes.
Representative Piscopo. Representative Rader,
Representative Rader votes yes.
Representative Reddington Hughes,
Representative Reddington Hughes votes no.
Representative Reyes, Representative Ryan, Representative Smith,
Representative Smith votes yes.
Representative Veach,
Representative Veach votes no.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. As a reminder to everyone, and which will be reiterated at the end of the meeting, we're going to be holding the votes open until 1 o'clock this afternoon. So that legislators that have multiple responsibilities have the ability to cast their votes on this. Moving on to the next item, House Bill 6482, an act authorizing bonding for bikeways, greenways, and recreational trails. It's a JFS to the floor. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Moved by Representative Michelle, seconded by Representative Baumgartner. We passed a similar bill last year, and fortunately, it was incorporated into the budget, extra funding for this program that DEEP administers. But as we know, our municipalities often ask for more money that's available. So not only are we asking for an additional allotment of money for this year, we're hoping that over the next 5 years, this would be a regular occurrence, and even better if we can get this set as a benchmark going forward by the Appropriations Committee when we do our budget. Any other comments or questions? Representative Mashinsky.
Can you just verify, because I don't see it in the language here. Can you verify that it's 6 million we're looking at instead of 3? Because we're taking out the in the aggregate language. It's deleted. And then we say 3 million per annum.
So it would
Which
be,
to me looks like 3 million.
but it would be 3 million on top of the allotment that is already benchmarked in the budget on an annual basis. So we're asking them to basically double it permanently.
Could we check with LCO to make sure this is written correctly? Because
LCO wrote it.
I'm certain I wrote it correctly.
Okay.
But it is, the good chairman is correct. It's $3 million per fiscal year for the next 5 fiscal years.
So how does that translate to 6 available for the municipalities?
You're on a roll, Brad.
The language reflects what the chairman directed me to draft. So that's what was requested, and that's what's in the bill.
And just like, and
How do we know that 3 million in this bill means 6 million?
because that's the
but-
way that we drafted it last year, and we're successful in getting 6 million put into the budget last year. So this, technically, this bill will make it out of committee and then not see the light of day as we try to advocate the Appropriations Committee to double the amount on a permanent basis.
Okay, I guess I should also have the conversation with the money committees to make sure that we're not locking ourselves into only 3.
I've already had that conversation.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Representative Mashinsky. Senator Harding.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and if there's no objection, I would ask that this be placed on the consent calendar.
Without objection, Madam Clerk, please place House Bill 6482 on the consent calendar. Moving on to the next item, House Bill 6483, an act concerning the Open Space and Watershed Land Acquisition Grant Program. It's a JFS to the floor. I'll entertain a motion. Moved by Representative Baumgartner, seconded by Representative Cooley. Again, similar to the last bill, this is a bill that would in a sense, double what is currently in the budget benchmark for open space money, which is 5 million, and having it be 10 million for at least the next 5 years. That 10 million level was, if you remember, far back, if you're as old as I am, that when this program first started, it was 10 million a year. As we strive toward getting our 21% open space goal going forward. So again, this passed out of committee. We will advocate with the money committees, appropriations, to restore that 10 million level permanently as the benchmark. Any comments or questions? Representative Mashinsky.
Yeah, I'm just noticing that the aggregate $10 million language is still in this bill, but we took aggregate out of the previous bill. So I don't know if, so this one I feel comfortable with because it has the aggregate still in here. The other one does not. And I'm wondering if we limit ourselves when we remove that language. I'm glad it's not being removed here. That's all. Just noticing the difference.
I'm glad you feel comfortable. Any other comments or questions? Senator Harding.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. If there's no objection, I would ask this be placed in the consent calendar.
Without objection, Madam Clerk, please place House Bill 6483 on the consent calendar. The next item is Senate Bill 73, an act establishing local representation on the Connecticut Siting Council for local projects. It's a JFS to the floor. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Moved by Representative Michelle, seconded by Senator Harding. This legislation and the JFS language would allow a municipality to appoint a non-voting member to the Siting Council based on a proposed project within that municipality. Any comments or questions? Representative Michelle.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just wanted to comment that I would love to entertain a conversation as this bill gets voted out of committee, so we could consider a voting member and also appointed by the legislative body of the municipalities. That's all. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Representative Michelle. Anyone else with any comments or questions? Representative D'Amico.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just before I make a comment, I was just wondering if you could explain the what the substitute language does.
Thank you, Representative Representative D'Amico. The substitute language allows one elector from the municipality in which the proposed project would happen, appointed by the chief elected official of that municipality to serve as a non-voting member on the Siting Council when the project comes up for discussion and for a vote.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So I have the same reservations about this legislation as the good ranking member is probably aware that I've had for the last several years. I think it's problematic. The whole idea of, as I understand it, and I could be wrong, whole idea of the Siting Council is to take out the concept of NIMBYism, not in my backyard. And now we're going to be saying that we're going to put somebody from the backyard into the discussion. I understand it's a non-voting member, but it's still someone with a, I guess you could phrase it as a vested interest. The testimony from the Siting Council representative, I understand, you know, you have to consider the source, but she points out several issues here with regards to confidentiality, with regards to potential conflicts, with regards to off-the-record communications, and so forth. I think her testimony is very very salient, and I think we should give long consideration to this. I'm going to have some difficulty voting for this, as I've had difficulty voting for it in the past, and I believe I voted no in the past for those reasons. So don't claim to be an expert, but I think we need to take a better look at this. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Senator Harding.
Well, I I would certainly be willing to work with Representative D'Amico on concerns that he may have. I can commit to you in regards to that, and whether it be confidentiality issues, communications, et cetera. I think that, you have to look at this, that a lot of town boards and commissions have many volunteers, and those volunteers get training on confidentiality, get training on communications. And I don't see this being any different. This would likely be individuals that are impacted by whatever project is being proposed, and would be on a volunteer basis. And I'm sure we could implement something, having them receive training on the importance of confidentiality and the like, and making sure that that individual conforms with whatever compliances are necessary related to the application. So I understand your concerns. I'd be happy to address that with you, as we've done that in the past. And I just think it's very important that this is not even a voting member. This would be simply providing an individual that lives in a local area that's directly impacted by the project that's going up, to have some level of discussion, some role in the process of determining what might get approved in their local neighborhood. These are projects that could have serious impacts on local municipalities, on local neighborhoods, et cetera. And I do believe that local individuals should have some role to say in what gets built and where it gets built and timeline, et cetera. So I think this is a nice step to address that issue. And I would ask my colleagues to support this.
I think I would prefer a roll call vote. And if I could respond to the good ranking member, Mr. Chair, I just wanted to, and I'm sure I don't need to point this out to him, but I will point it out that in her testimony, Ms. Bachman pointed out in point number 4, municipalities have an absolute right to participate in Connecticut Siting Council proceedings as a party and appeal. In all Siting Council proceedings, parties have rights to submit testimony, exhibits, cross-examine witnesses, and appeal final decisions. So if the concern is that the locals don't have any ability to weigh in on the proceedings, I think that's not correct. So I'll leave it at that. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Representative D'Amico. Representative Dubitsky.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. From my experience, the biggest complaint, the biggest concern that local residents have with regard to the Siting Council is that they don't consider things that only the locals would know. That after a decision comes out, I always hear, but why didn't they consider X? And I think this is a good way, without allowing the local resident to really throw a wrench in the works by having a vote, to make sure that there's somebody there from the locality that during the discussion can say, yes, that may be true, but you didn't know that there was a farm behind there, or you didn't know this, or you didn't know something else, or you're not considering that. And just to keep the information that only people that live there know in the discussion. Certainly there isn't a majority of people. It's one person on the Siting Council without a vote. It just makes sense to have somebody who knows what's going on there to make sure that when the Siting Council is deliberating, that they're bringing in all the information that's important to that decision. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Representative Dubitsky. Representative Horn.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. In continuation, I think a little bit of Representative Dubiski's comments, the biggest complaints I hear about the siting council is the lack of environmental expertise on that council. And that does relate to some of the testimony that sometimes having a local representative can help with. And because it's a non-voting member, I am prepared to support this out of committee today. But in adding on Representative D'Amico's comments, the one thing that I do note from Melanie Bachman's testimony is that generally those members of the siting council who have a particular interest recuse themselves. So this does, there's some conflict here, and I note that I would want to pay attention to that going forward, but I'm prepared to support it today. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Representative Horn. Representative Michelle.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just in continuation of this, I just wanted to say that there's been, in my experience, areas where the siting council was taking decisions where they might not have such cognizance on the domain, and that's why I support this bill. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Representative Cooley.
I look at this in terms of the old adage, an ounce of prevention saves us a pound of cure. Having a local person there can give us a perspective. And historically, we've had projects done, not just what this bill addresses, but many projects that have been done that have had serious flaws in them because there wasn't an understanding of local conditions. And I think this bill helps prevent that and is a good preventative measure.
Thank you. Seeing no other hands raised in the room or virtually, I will ask the clerk to please call the roll for Senate Bill 73, an act establishing local representation on the Connecticut Siting Council for Local Projects, JFS, to the floor. I think I just did your job.
Senate Bill 73 with LCO 4249. Senator Lopes.
Senator Lopes votes yes.
Representative Gresco.
Yes.
Senator Hotchedel. Representative Palm.
Yes.
Senator Harding. Representative Callahan. Representative Anderson.
Rep. Anderson votes yes.
Senator Anwar.
Anwar votes no.
Representative Arizno.
Arseno votes yes.
Representative Baumgardner.
Yes.
Representative Chafee.
Yes.
Representative Cooley.
Yes.
Representative Dancho.
Yes.
Representative D'Amico.
D'Amico votes no.
Representative Dillon. Representative Dubiski.
Yes.
Representative Felipe.
Representative Felipe votes yes.
Senator Gaston.
Senator Gaston votes yes.
Representative Harrison.
Yes.
Representative Horn.
Horn votes yes.
Representative McGee.
Representative McGee votes yes.
Representative Michelle.
Michelle votes yes.
Representative Mashinsky.
Mashinsky votes yes.
Representative O'Day. Representative Parker.
Representative Parker votes yes.
Representative Piscopo.
Piscopo votes yes.
Representative Rader.
Representative Rader votes yes.
Representative Reddington Hughes.
Reddington Hughes votes yes.
Representative Reyes.
Representative Reyes votes yes.
Representative Ryan. Representative Smith.
Representative Smith votes yes.
Representative Smith, can you take yourself off camera, please? For the vote.
Smith votes yes.
I'm sorry, Representative Smith, I just need you off camera in order for you to
On
vote.
camera.
I meant on camera.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You're off camera and I need you on camera. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it. Representative Veach.
Rep. Veach votes yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Moving on to the next item. Senate Bill 894, an act concerning the functions of the Departments of Energy and Environmental Protection and Agriculture. It's a JF to the floor. I'll entertain a motion. Moved by Representative Palm, seconded by Representative Chafee. So this bill, again, is a potential carrier for Department of Agriculture bills. We will be hearing 3 DOAG bills on the 27th of this month. They are quite extensive in material. And if we'd like to combine them into one, that this gives us our option. But as I said before, we would be hearing all the material that would potentially be in this bill. Any other questions or comments? Senator Harding.
Just through you, Mr. Chair, just again reaffirming, I think what you just mentioned, that I am inclined, and individuals in my caucus are inclined to support this measure as long as there's a commitment that the bills that go in are intended to be deep and DOAG proposals, and that they all will receive a public hearing. So through you, just to make sure, confirm that I have that commitment.
So committed.
Thank you. With that being said, I would ask that it be placed on consent calendar if there's no objection.
Without any objection, will the clerk note that Senate Bill 894 be placed on the consent calendar? Moving on to House Bill 5009, an act concerning the public safety capacity of state parks. It's a JFS to the floor. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Moved by Representative Callahan, seconded by Senator Harding. The JFS language requiring DEEP to come up with a state park capacity plan, especially when that capacity approaches overflow, is now specific to Squan's Pond State Park. Any comments or questions? Representative Mushinski.
Just a comment that I hope the delegation from that part of the state will ask DEEP for a bus. It will solve a lot of your problem on the roadside. And I hate to be in a position where we tell low-income people that they can't go swimming because the parking lot is getting full and people are starting to walk in. And whether it's Hammonasset or Rocky Neck or any of the parks that have water, I hate to be in that position of shutting people out on a hot day. But you may be able to get somewhere with safety by having DEEP provide a bus to go through the town and pick up folks downtown and bring them to the site safely. So if you haven't asked for that, I encourage you to ask. They did do it in Meriden, and it's allowed people to get to Hammonasset safely, and something that might work in that part of the state as well on the west side. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Representative Callahan.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and I appreciate Representative Mashinsky's remarks. But this is solely busing wouldn't help because I've spoken to park staff, I've spoken to the state police, the first selectman. It's they're at wit's end being able to control safety in and outside the park. Really just, and it's not targeting any income class. It's simply trying to stop the safety issue you have with people walking along State Route 39 with no shoulder in the middle of the road. There's also issues. It's obviously a water body there, and it's very difficult to control the situation of water safety. So that's really what it's based on. But I do appreciate you always engaging in the debate, Representative Mashinsky. And I do want to thank Senator Harding and Senator Kushner for co-introducing.
Thank you, Representative. Senator Harding.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And if there's no objection, I would ask this to be placed on consent.
Seeing no objection, will the clerk note House Bill 5009 will be going on the consent calendar. And lastly, we have House Bill 6480, an act establishing a working group on the restoration of eelgrass. It's a straight JF to the floor. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Wait a minute. You're all in harmony there. Moved by Representative Michelle, seconded by Representative Chafee. This would instruct a working group to be put together, led by Save the Sound and the sound keeper to come up with a plan to restore a very environmentally beneficial eelgrass to Long Island Sound. Any comments or questions? Representative Baumgartner.
Yes, I'd like to thank the good chair for raising this bill. I know a lot of folks in the building have been involved in this. Also want to recognize my senator and also I believe your senator who is very passionate about these issues. In the bill does include a few spots for folks in the district. If you're a student at Marine Science Magnet School, my sister's alma mater, and the UConn Avery Point campus as well, a spot reserved for them, and certainly the sound keepers as well. So welcome as many volunteers to the group as possible and hope we can get this to the finish line. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Representative. Among those locations are also Stratford Point, just to make sure that's on your radar screen there. Any other comments or questions? Senator Harding.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And if there's no objection, I'd ask this also be placed on the consent calendar.
Thank you, Senator. Will the clerk know House Bill 6480 also going on the consent calendar? And Madam Clerk, when you are ready, would you please call the roll for the consent calendar?
I will. And for clarity, I will be listing the LCO numbers for the JFS so that we're clear on what we're discussing. So on the consent bill, I have H Bill 6484, JF to the floor. I have H Bill 6481, JF to the floor. I have House Bill 6487, JF to the floor. I have Senate Bill 895, JFS to the floor with LCO number 4250. House Bill 6482, JFS to the floor, LCO 4251. House Bill 6483, JFS to the floor, LCO number 4252. SB 894, JF to the floor. HB 5009, JFS to the floor, LCO number is 4388. Lastly, HB 6480, JF to the floor.
I concur. Please call the roll.
Senator Lopes,
Senator Lopes votes yes.
Representative Gresco,
Yes.
Senator Hockenell,
Senator Hockenell votes yes.
Representative Palm,
Palm votes yes.
Senator Harding, Representative Callahan,
Yes.
Representative Anderson,
Rep. Anderson votes yes.
Senator Anwar,
Senator Anwar votes yes.
Representative Rizno,
Rossino votes yes.
Representative Baumgartner,
Baumgartner votes yes.
Representative Chafee, Representative Cooley,
Representative Cooley votes yes.
Representative Dancho,
Representative Dancha votes yes.
Representative D'Amico,
D'Amico votes yes.
Representative Dillon, Representative Dubitsky, Representative Felipe,
Representative Felipe votes yes.
Senator Gaston,
Senator Gaston votes yes.
Representative Harrison,
Yes.
Representative Horn,
Horn votes yes.
Representative McGee,
Representative votes yes.
Representative Michelle,
Michelle votes yes.
Representative Mashinsky,
Mashinsky votes yes.
Representative O'Day, Representative Parker,
Representative Parker votes yes.
Representative Piscopo,
Piscopo votes yes.
Representative Rader,
Representative Rader votes yes.
Representative Representative Reddington Hughes,
Reddington Hughes votes yes.
Representative Reyes, Representative Ryan,
Representative Ryan votes yes.
Representative Smith,
Representative Smith votes yes.
Representative Veach,
Representative Veach votes yes.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Moving on to
Representative Reyes votes in the affirmative, please.
thank you, Representative.
Thank you. Moving on to Roman numeral 4. Our next time we're going to see each other will be a public hearing on the 27th of February. That's a Monday morning. As a reminder, we will be holding these votes open until 1 o'clock this afternoon. And in between now and then, the committee will be in recess. Thank you.
Gaia, can I ask you if I missed any votes? Gaia, can you tell us if we missed any votes? Because I got on late.
Just going to take me a few minutes, Representative.
Okay, I might still be here.
Okay, Representative Ryan, I need you to vote on, sorry, it's going in order. I have a lot going on here in this hearing room. But I have House Bill 6485, organic reduction of green burials. How do you
Yes,
vote?
I'll vote yes on that. Yes.
Thank you.
Anything else, or is that it?
Give me a second.
Okay.
Yeah, I have one more for you, Representative Ryan, which is an act establishing local representation of the Connecticut Siting Council for local projects. That's SB 73.
I will vote yes on that too, I believe.
Yeah, I think. Thank you. That's all I have for you, Representative Ryan.
Thank you.
Gaia, I believe I just missed the second to the last one.
Okay, thank you, Senator. Senator Hockadell, I have you for House Bill 73, an act establishing local representation on the Connecticut Siting Council for local projects. How do you vote?
Yes.
Thank you. Let me just see if there's anything else outstanding, Senator. Senator, I have you for voting for the others, and then we have the consent bill. Let me just quickly look at that very fast. I got you for everything. Thank you, Senator.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Representative Reyes, I see you there. Let me just check on you quickly. Yes, Representative Reyes, I need you for a vote for, could you help him? An act concerning natural organic reduction of green burials. How do you vote?
Negative.
Thank you, Representative. Let me just see if there's anything else outstanding. Thank you, Representative. I have you for all the other votes.
Thank you.
Senator Anwar, I see you on, and I just need to get your vote for House Bill 6485, act concerning for the act concerning organic reduction of green burials. Senator Anwar, I don't see you on camera, so I'll come back to you later.
Hi, Gaia.
Yes, Senator Anwar, I was just looking for you. Thank you so much for coming on. I just have the one vote, I
Okay.
believe. Let me just double check very quickly. I have 6485, an act concerning natural organic reduction of green burials. How do you vote, Senator?
Gaia, can you hear me?
I can barely hear you. There's a lot of voices around.
Okay, give me 1 second. I'll close the door. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you, Senator Anwar now. Can you please give me your vote on House Bill 6485, an act concerning natural organic reduction of green burials?
Senator Anwar votes yes. And on number 7 item, I may have mistakenly said no. Number
Okay.
7 item
I did
is a
hear the
yes.
no. Let me come back to that. Let me get you on the green burials and then I'm going to come back to that. I did hear the no and I thank you. I'll come back to you in just 2 seconds.
Sure.
So thank you, Senator Anwar, for bringing that up. So that would be Senate Bill 73, an act establishing local representation on the Connecticut Siting Council for local projects. And you did in fact vote no. Is that the one that you wanted to vote yes on, Senator?
Correct. Correct. Sorry about my error.
Oh, no, wonderful. I'll note that. Let me just check on the one last bill since there's only 3 that we vote on. I'll make sure you're okay.
Senator 9, it was item 9.
I think it was just the concept votes and you vote, which is all yes for everyone. So I think we're all
Yes.
set, Senator. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you so much. Thank you.
Representative Dillon, I see you. I'm just going to take one moment to get my paperwork and then I'll get your vote.
I appreciate it. I was in another meeting, so I need to catch up a little.
Of course. Okay, so I have several bills. I have Senate Bill 73, an act establishing local representation on the Connecticut Siting Council for local projects. How do you vote, Representative?
Qualified, yes.
I'm sorry?
Yes.
Okay, that's wonderful.
Is that the only one?
Nope, I have two more for you very, very quickly.
Okay.
Okay, so the next one I have is House Bill 6485, which is an act concerning natural organic reduction of green burials.
But what is that what is the JFS language on that?
Well, it's LCO 4271, which was sent to you last night. I don't have that in front of me, Representative.
I apologize. I was running a meeting today, but I thought the one that I saw was about siting council.
Yes, so
I'm not sure I got substitute language on green burials.
okay, well, all of the attachments were sent last night. So I'm sure that you would have received.
Okay.
Okay. Pat, I just want to make sure that you're there, so that you've reviewed the documents. Pat, I'll be on in one moment. I'm gonna get your votes.
Sounds great.
Hey, Pat,
Hi, how are you?
I don't know if you're speaking and I can't hear you, so I apologize. Let me see. I might be having a speaker issue. Let me see if I can
Hello?
get my headset on.
Can you hear me?
I'm sorry, Pat. So I had to move. So let me just take one moment to just do a test on my devices and see where I can get with this.
Okay.
Okay, could you test and say something to me, Pat?
Say something.
Okay, I cannot hear you right now. Hold on. Judy, are you on right now? Can you unmute yourself if you are on?
She's muted.
I'm in. Okay, Pat, and I see that you're not here now. Hi, Pat. We're back in business, I think. I just had audio right before. I think you were disconnected. If you unmute yourself, I'll be able to see if I can hear you.
I disconnected in case the problem was on my end.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're all set. And sometimes when you're in CTN in the room, they kind of grab some things on my computer, and then when I leave the room, it's an interesting thing. So okay, so let's start with the ones that we took votes on. We did do a consent calendar, and I'll get to that. It's a little more lengthy. So I'll start with the Senate Bill 7-3, which is an act establishing local representation on the Connecticut Siting Council for local projects. And that came with LCO 4249.
To get it out of committee, yes.
Okay, thank you, Representative Dillon. And then also an act concerning natural organic reduction of green burials. That's with JFS LCO, JFS to the floor, LCO 4271.
Yeah, I just read the Commissioner of Health testimony, and I was holding a meeting on the health budget this morning. We have no money. The answer is no.
Okay.
That's before we get into all the things that, all the hot potatoes that were kicked to the regs process. But I didn't hear the discussion, so I don't know if my comment reflects the sense of the committee at all, but I'm looking at things from another point of view.
Okay. And then for what was on the consent to vote was all the rest of the bill. So I'm just going to, just for protocol, I'm just going to say them very quickly, which is the bill. And if it has a new JFS language, the LCO number, which is just, it's all on the agenda that you have, but HB 6484, JFS to the floor, HB 6481, JFS to the floor, HB 6487, JFS to the floor, JF to the floor. I apologize. Those three were JF to the floor. Senate Bill 895 JFS with LCO number 4250. That is JFS to the floor. And let me see what else I have here. Keep you going, which is House Bill 6482, and that is JFS to the floor, LCO 4251. House Bill 6483, JFS to the floor, LCO 4252. Senate Bill 894, JF to the floor, House Bill 5009, JFS to the floor, LCO 4388. And the last one is House Bill 6480, JF to the floor. And that was all on consent.
Yes.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Pat. Representative Dillon. I hope you have a
Thank
really
you.
good weekend.
Oh, yeah, you too. Sorry I missed everything, but it's a crowded year.
Yeah, it sure is. Okay, take care.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
there, Representative O'Day.
Hey there, sorry for the delay.
Glad you're on. Okay, so I'm gonna go over a few things. Let me just see what I need you for though. Hold on, just take me a second. Okay, so on one of these bills, there was a JFS to the floor. It's Senate Bill 7-3 with LCO number 4249, an act establishing representation on the Connecticut Siting Council for local projects.
What was the breakdown R to D, if there was one?
I think only one person voted no, which was Representative Mike D'Amico. Is that what you asked me?
Yeah, no, that's good. No, I'm a yes.
And then, let's see, then we have House Bill 6485, which is an act concerning natural organic reduction in green burials. That is JFS to the floor, LCO 4271.
No.
Then, just
May
for-
I ask on that vote, were there any yeses by any Rs? If you know or can tell?
I'm sure the other thing I said was allowed to say necessarily, but I see the last vote, Representative O'Day, and it seemed like it was split in that way.
Okay.
From a quick glance, I'm not going over every individual thing, but quick glance looks like that's what it looks like.
Thank you.
Then we have all the consent votes, which I'm just going to quickly read the House Bill LCO number if I have to, because if it's a JFS, it helps to say the LCO number because those change when you change for the substitute. Okay, so very quickly, I'll say all consent. House Bill 6484, JF to the floor. House Bill 6481, JF to the floor. House Bill 6487, JF to the floor. Senate Bill 895, JFS to the floor, which is LCO number 4250. House Bill 6482, JFS to the floor, LCO 4251. House Bill 6483, JFS to the floor, LCO 4252. SB 894, JF to the floor, HB 5009, JFS to the floor with LCO number 4388. And last is House Bill 6480, JF to the floor. How do you vote, Representative O'Day?
Yes.
Great. Thank you. Have a great weekend.
Have a great weekend. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.